This episode is proudly supported by Westholme Australian Wagyu. Here's Stephen Sinclair from Jackson's on George.
In general, Westholme, I use several items on the menu from them. I always look to source products for their flavour. And with Westholme, I think they deliver that 100%. Australian Wagyu, in particular, Westholme is world class. Westholme is recognised for their quality all over the world. And then that's why, and when I tried it, and I absolutely love the flavour. This is, why I decided to put them on the menu.
Westholme believe that when nature leads, flavour follows. Learn more at westholme.com.
Cooking is such a magical thing. You can transform things through doing fermentation and preservation. It's like so many things that you can do that it's like a sensory overload. So I just love everything about it. I love the challenge. I love when things are hard because I want to overcome the challenge. And I love when people are happy and they love my food and they come to the class and say that was amazing.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. There's something quite nice going on in hospitality of late with all-day diners and bistros popping up. A focus on quality, but delivered in a casual, comfortable setting with an open invitation to enjoy a meal in the manner you see fit. But how do you create a venue that can deliver breakfast, lunch and dinner in this way? Matilde Razzoli is the head chef of Elio's in Melbourne. Matilde, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to get you on the show. You're the talk of the town at the moment. It's a lot of buzz about Elio's. How are things?
Thanks very much, and thanks for having me. Things are good. Are busy, as you can imagine. Doing an opening of such a big restaurant is a lot, and yeah, I've never done an opening before, so I've been busy, but I've been enjoying it very, very much. So, and I'm happy to know that people are happy. That makes me.
Tell us a little bit about that build-up. What's it been like being part of that sort of the opening of a new establishment?
It's been very interesting and a bit like unusual in the way that we did it because I met Adam and Elisa, which are the owners at Elio's, just before my trip to Italy in July. So we met like in June. And we basically decided, okay, we're going to do this together. Great. They liked me. I liked them. We liked each other. It was perfect. But I said, there's only a little problem. I need to go. I'm going to Italy to see my family. And, this is not a negotiable for me. I really miss my family a lot. I see them once a year. So I'm not going to cancel a trip just because I started a new job. There's priorities. But, so what we ended up doing is it was very interesting because we did the whole menu in the venues that they already own. They have like 2 cafes in the cities. And so we tested the whole menu. We tested all the dishes in like 2 weeks. And like it was like really a big push. It was like a lot. But I loved it. Like I like working under pressure. This is one of the reasons why I love my job as well. Like I have the best of me. I like being busy. So it was fine for me. We decided on the whole menu basically 2 weeks before I left for Italy, and then I left for a month. And then I basically came back with the restaurant, which was quite ready, but basically still a construction site where we were missing all the finishes. And then from then, it took a few more days to get the restaurant ready. And then we started. And it was like, pretty intense, but fun.
What sort of impact did it have on your trip in Italy? That sort of intense period just before, and then you've gone away and knowing sort of you're coming back to some big new adventure. Did it affect sort of the holiday and your thinking of what you're going to do when you get back?
Not really. I'm pretty obsessed with food anyway, so I always think about it anyway. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. So I was really excited, more than stressed. So I really had a lot of positive emotions within me, and I still do. I'm just really excited about this because, it's my first adventure as a head chef, and, I'm not like a 20-year-old. I'm 33 years old, so I've got my experience behind my back to support me in everything that I do. So it was time for me to just take this step and start this new thing. But no, it didn't affect the holiday at all. It was just more in a positive way. And once I'm with my family and friends, I don't really think about work, I just enjoy and live the moment. I just think about food, but not about the stress of the work. It was just more, let's smash this, that kind of vibe.
Yeah, that's a good place to be. And tell us a little bit about Elio's. You know, it's challenging for any venue to sort of do breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Tell us about the offering and how you do that.
Yeah, so we're all-day bistro, European bistro. It's what the Elisa and Adam wanted to do because they're Italian as well. Their parents are from Abruzzo. So I think they just wanted to, a bit of more connection to European bistros. We decided to do a menu that was a sharing menu, obviously not for the breakfast offering, but the lunch and dinner offering is more of a shared menu. Bistro European style means that, obviously there's going to be a heavy Italian influence because I'm from Italy and my sous chef is as well, by the way. So 2 Italian in the house already. But yeah, we try and use ingredients and inspiration. The more we go on with the menu, with the venue, the more I create new dishes. I'll try and get more inspiration from Spain, from France, from England, and use different ingredients as well. In terms of the breakfast one, it was, a bit challenging. Not challenging, but, I don't come from cafes, so I come from fine dining, and it was been challenging to make things a little bit simpler because I try to overcomplicate things sometimes. That's how my mind works. So I've just trying to go back to basics and make things like taste super delicious, executing everything super well and using the best ingredients and make everything fresh and, just start from that. And I think we got a pretty good result in the breakfast menu. Like, people seem to love it. So, yeah.
It's spring at the moment. Is there a dish or two on the menu that sort of exemplifies sort of your food and what you're doing there that you can tell us about?
We're actually changing the pasta tomorrow. So we had a pumpkin pasta when we started because it was more wintry food menu. We're starting to change a few dishes. I don't like to change the whole menu. Also because there are some items that are going to probably stay the same. They're not going to change. But the pasta that we are going to have on the menu from tomorrow has spring garlic. I like to use quality ingredients. I like working from farms, so we get our spring garlic from farms, garlic chives from farms. We're doing a chitarra pasta, which is a square spaghetti. I'm sure you have heard of it before. Chitarra with spring garlic, green tomatoes sauce. I love green tomatoes, and I love to use a bit of more unusual ingredients. Sometimes I feel like I see the same ingredients in a lot of places and it gets a bit boring. My brain needs the challenge and my brain needs the stimulation, so I try to be different, but not too different that it's weird, because there is also, you can go too much and then it's a bit weird. It still needs to be tasty. So we're doing this pasta has spring garlic, green tomato, a bit of Gouda cheese at the bottom, a bit of breadcrumbs, fresh lemon zest. So that's super, super fresh in your mouth, even though it has the cheese, it's taste. And we just had a taste with the owners, and yeah, it's on the menu from tomorrow. We're pretty happy.
Not only do you sort of, run the kitchen of that menu as well, you've been doing an interesting thing at Matter Cooks, cooking classes and stuff like that. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so I started doing that a couple of years ago because I just needed something that it was only mine, and my creativity needed to go somewhere, and I have lots of ideas. And so I just wanted a bit more. I wanted to start doing teaching. I wanted to start doing cooking classes because I wanted a bit more contact with the customer, with the person that really is the one that taste your food in a restaurant, but you don't never see them. I wanted a bit of more of engagement. I wanted to do something else. So I started doing cooking classes and events with Mata Cooks. And yeah, I started in 2021 I think we did the first one at Faraday's Cage, which is a small cafe near Bar Liberty. At the time I was still working at Bar Liberty. And then I started doing them at my friend Sleepy's, where my friend Steve works. In Carlton North, and I've done some at Manze, just pop-ups where I could test my food, let's say, because your friends and family will always tell you that your food is delicious, but you'll never know until you serve it to a stranger. And yeah, it was cool. It was a lot of hard work, and incredibly hard work when you do this small event, especially if it's a 1-day event. You need to do everything yourself. You don't have a team that you hired. It's just you. So it's a lot of hard work, but it's very rewarding because people really liked my food, and yeah, it was really fun. And in terms of the teaching, it was fun but the teaching, I don't know, it's for me, like once in a while I can do it, but it's not for me as an everyday job. I need a bit more of a challenge, of a stimulation, the rhythm. I need the rhythm to be a little bit faster as well, faster paced environment.
What sort of things were you teaching people?
Italian food. I was doing pizza classes with pizza made from scratch, like 2-day fermentation. I was teaching like a 3-course Italian tasting menu, because I was like, I don't want to just teach you like a 1 dish or 2 dishes. I wanted to teach you some. It was more focused on like entertaining. Like if you're a person that likes to entertain and likes to have guests at home, I'll teach you an antipasto, a first course, or like a main course and a dessert. So you have it all. You come back home with a complete menu that you could serve to your guests. Yeah, it was a bit more. I was trying to think about what people would want from a class. But yeah, I'm not doing those anymore because Elio's taking all my time, and it's fine. I'm enjoying it here. So here and there, I will still do events, but like not on a regular basis for now. Just focus my energies on the restaurant.
You mentioned a bit earlier that you went home for a holiday to Italy. Take us back to Italy. And when you were young, whereabouts did you grow up, and what sort of role did food play?
I grew up in a town near Florence called Prato, Prato, spelled. And a lot of Australians know Prato, actually, because the Monash University has an establishment there in the center. So lots of Australians go to the Monash in Prato. But yeah, I was born there and raised in Prato. I moved to Florence when I started working in a restaurant. But my family, food was always important growing up. My mom would cook very healthy food, a thing that me and my brother didn't really appreciate until we grew up older, because we wanted, the soft drinks, we wanted the snacks, but we were not given that. Those were not kept at home. And my mom always cooked and made things from scratch. And, like, we had to go to visit our grandmas to get the junk food, which was, fine. But now I'm really grateful for that, because it really built like a good foundation in me and my brother on like what food is and what, good food. It's healthy. Healthy food is great. It tastes amazing. So you just need to know what to do with it. I eating seasonal. In my family, we always ate seasonal food. In Italy, we eat like super seasonals as well, like supermarkets. A little bit different from here in Australia. Like the produce are very, very seasonal. So I feel sometimes that here in Australia you can find, asparagus all year round, or avocados all year round. The climate is a bit different though, because you get avocados from the north of Australia as well. But yeah, I don't know. In Italy, we really, really pay attention to a lot of those things. And my grandpa was a hunter, not by trade, but just per passion. So we always used to hunt birds. Nothing too big, just birds, wild pigeon, and so on. So we always had like a lot of wild meat, wild game growing up. And it's something that I bring in the menu as well a little bit. I really want people to eat wild meats and innards and organs. And that's why I put the tongue skewers on the menu here at Elio's, just to start educating people on that, because that's what you got to do, right? You got to do slowly, put something that it's like a tongue, but it's like also people are going to be interested, and it's done in a way that is not offensive, and people start liking, and people start understanding that the tongue is not as bad as I thought it would be, and maybe they start buying the tongue for themselves and cooking it. That's how I go about things. So at home growing up, food was very important. All my family loves food. My mom, my dad. My mom was the one that always was doing most of the cooking. My dad only did a few dishes. All the dishes on the fireplace were done by my dad. The Italian barbecue, the fireplace. And my mom, and like used to do like this kind of pasta. I still remember used to do pancetta, radicchio, salsiccia, which is sausage, and onions. Always short pasta I used to make. We used to call it very uncreatively dad's pasta, and we loved it. We were amazed that he could do something like that, because we thought he couldn't cook, and he did. It was just too busy with other things probably to cook for us every day. But yeah, so food was very important for us and our family, and we all love food. To this date, we all are obsessed with food.
Tell us a little bit about the food of the region that you grow up in. Is there any sort of really standout sort of ingredients or dishes from Florence and that greater region that you can share with us?
Yeah, I mean, Tuscan food is it comes from, well, Tuscan was never like a super, super rich region, especially back in the days before the Medici family. I mean, the Medici family brought a bit of richness in in the region, but before that, it was very like, farms and like poor people's food, like peasants' food. So we have two very typical dishes in Florence, which are papa al pomodoro and ribollita, which are bread, maize, let's say, soup. Papa al pomodoro is bread and tomato. It's very summery, and ribollita is more wintry. So we use cannellini beans, we use Tuscan kale, we use a bit of carrots, and we eat it with. In my house, we used to eat ribollita with the artichoke leaves or with vegetables instead of the spoon. That's how we do it at home, and the other side of the Tuscan like food scene is like a lot of meat. We love meat. We have bistecca alla fiorentina comes from our area, and we eat a lot of meat. But we have like a beautiful coast, so I think a lot of the times the seafood is not showcased enough. So we have a lot to offer. But very strong flavor. And one thing that probably might be interesting to share is that in Italy, Tuscany is the only region that has non-salted bread. So our bread is without salt. We are the only ones that do that. I'm not too sure why, but I need to look it up. But we have like very, very savory and flavorful dishes. We have because we have a lot of meat and we used to eat a lot of meat. We also have a lot of charcuterie. The prosciutto, everyone knows the prosciutto San Daniele, prosciutto di Parma, but not many people know that there's also prosciutto Toscano. So Tuscany comes with its own prosciutto that is really, really heavy in pepper and very, very salty. So all of our meat dishes and a lot of the dishes that are coming from Tuscany are very savory, and we definitely compensate that by accompanied by non-salted bread, which is not something that people know. It lasts longer without salt as well because it doesn't absorb much humidity, so it's fresher for longer as well. So yeah, that's a little bit of a rundown of what's happening in Tuscany. There's a lot to say. There's too much to say, you know what I mean?
Tell us about the beginnings of your career. When did you sort of decide that, being a chef and in hospitality was for you, and what was it like?
I don't really have one of those like classical stories that a lot of chefs have. Like I knew that I wanted to cook since I was from the age of 4 years old. That wasn't me. Like I didn't even think about cooking until I was 21, 22. I've done my normal, teenage life, studying normal things in a normal high school. And then after when all my friends started uni, I kind of started uni with them because I didn't know what to do with my life, which is, I think a lot of people can see themselves in that as well. So I started uni, studying economy, hated it, and quit after the first semester because I'm like, there's no point of me keep going to uni. I have no interest in studying these subjects. And then I had a long time, more than 6 months, without doing anything, being like completely lost in life, and I didn't know what to do. There was too many options, and I'm a pretty creative person, but I didn't know what to do. Maybe I wanted to be a photographer, maybe I wanted to be a chef, but the chef, I don't even remember how it came up. It just came up because we liked food. Maybe my mom said, "Why don't you think about cooking?" And I was in between then photography and cooking for like a long time. And then eventually I remember my family, we all went to the US for a big family holiday. And I still remember I was in front of the Statue of Liberty on a ferry. And I decided then, for no reason, that I was going to be a chef. It just was more inspiring to me at some point. I was like, I need to do something, Matilde. Let's get going with life. Okay, chef it is. And then, after I came back from the holiday, I started studying. I went to a Cordon Bleu in Florence, which is like the oldest culinary school in Tuscany. And I started doing some very serious internships, and then my career started. And loved it.
Tell us about your time in Italy working in commercial kitchens. What were the really important people and venues that influenced the path that you went on?
Yeah, I think if I have to mention, I've never really changed places like every year, so I tend to stay in places like quite a long time. That's how I like it. The two venues that are probably more important even now thinking back are the Enoteca Pinchiori, which is the only 3 Michelin star restaurant in Florence, which was one of my first internships. And the Four Seasons Hotel in Florence, which I've worked for a long time, for almost 4 years there. So the Enoteca Pinchiori was beginning of my career, fresh from school, cooking school. I was like, pretty full-on person, pretty intense person. I was like, yeah, let's go. So the teachers were like, there's this opportunity, guys, to go to Enoteca Pinchiori. It's a 3-star. And they were trying to give us a heads up, right? They were trying to say, it's going to be really hard if you go there. They're going to, it's going to be like being in the army. So really think if you want to go there. I was like, yeah, I want to go there. Let's go. So I started the internship, and they were not kidding. Like, it was really, really, really hard. It's on the body, even though I was like 20 years old, like I could feel it after I stayed there like a couple of months. I asked to do the internship to make it a little bit longer, so much I was enjoying it, but it was a lot of, like, it was confronting because it was really like being in an army. Like, you really had to follow every step, but I've made like such nice memories. Like, I still remember my time there, like with, it really put the foundation for who I am as a chef in terms of like, passion, working fast, being clean, and really caring about how you handle food. So it was really good memories. And for most of the time there, I wasn't even allowed in the kitchen. So most of it was just me and my other colleague from school, just us washing, picking herbs, washing vegetables, but then also looking at them while doing service, because during service we were not even allowed in the kitchen. After a while, they would allow in the kitchen to just do like a little starter, and then your heart starts pumping and the anxiety goes up. But then once you make it right, then you're really proud of yourself, and it's definitely an achievement, especially at the beginning of your career. And then Four Seasons in Florence, it's definitely really important. The chef is not there anymore, Vito Mollica. He was one of my mentors for sure. And yeah, I've done like a lot of things. Cooked for Beyonce. I was part of the team. Beyonce and Jay-Z came to Florence. I was part of the team that cooked for them. I had them in front of me. It was amazing. It wasn't me as a chef, but it's still like an amazing experience doing things like that. I learned how to do massive events. They were doing a lot of events. They had the Michelin star restaurant. So I learned a lot at the Four Seasons, and I'm really forever grateful for my time there. And yeah, here in Melbourne, definitely it's worth mentioning, like my time at Bar Liberty, I really learned a lot there. Like, that's completely different approach cooking, and I learned a lot from Casey, which is one of the owners, and Zach as well, eventually when he stepped in. And I think you just learn from every experience, and these 3 places, I would say they put definitely a mark on me, and they will stay forever, and probably on me as a person as well.
How did you end up in Australia?
I came here for holiday because I wanted to come here for an experience. I think I applied for the working holiday and I got it, but it wasn't the right time for me to leave. And you have like a little bit of extra time. They give you a bit of extra time for you to decide if you want to come or not. And my time was expiring. And at the end, I was like, okay, let's do it. So I came here, but let's do it for holiday. I didn't want to waste it. So I had to use my visa for something. I was like, I'll just go on holiday, so I feel like it's not wasted. Came on holiday, loved it, completely loved it. I was living in Berlin at the time. Berlin had a different vibe, or from my experience, it had a different vibe, and loved the vibe here in Australia. Loved the hospitality scene, and had a completely like a not even middle-age crisis, but I had a life crisis on the phone with my mom, crying. I was like, Mom, I don't know what to do. And she was like, you probably should, come home for Christmas, New Year's Eve. And then it was January at the time. It was December at the time. It's like, just come home for Christmas, New Year's Eve, and then buy a one-way ticket, because you go back, you like it there, And after that phone call, that's what I did. I went back home for the festivities, and in January 2018 I was at Bar Liberty working. I used my first I had like still 4 or 5 days of my holiday left, and I used them to I started printing hundreds of CVs and going everywhere. And eventually, Casey needed someone at Liberty, and he was like, yeah, maybe there's a spot in January. So I came back in January, and I started working there and been there for like 3.5 years. Yeah, it was fun.
How different was the kitchen at Bar Liberty compared to what you were used to in Italy?
I've taken a lot of crap. I've taken a lot of shit from Casey at the beginning. Like, it was a different way of working, and I don't know, completely different way of organizing things, different way of doing spreadsheets, different way of doing the food. So it was completely different. So it was like it was really hard at the beginning, but I've learned so much that it's just completely different. I don't know, like I don't know, the way that Casey cooks is very, I was coming from Four Seasons. Yeah, there is attention to detail, but it's a completely different venue, right? Bar Liberty is like a smaller venue. You paid so much attention to detail that, I wasn't used to that. So at the beginning it was a bit hard to adjust, but I think after, fun. Yeah.
Tell us about the role you're in now. What's it been like adjusting to being the head chef and taking on a different responsibility? What sort of impact has that had on you?
I feel very happy. I think I was ready for it, probably very ready for it. So I think it was never a shock because after Bar Liberty, I was a capitano leading the kitchen. Not leading the kitchen, I wasn't head chef, I was sous chef there, but I was there a lot. So that it's like a bigger kitchen than Bar Liberty as well. So they gave me like a good foundation for what was to come at Elio's as well. I think really good. I think that it's still the beginning of my journey, right? We haven't been open for a little more than 2 months now. So I'm a person that really think that I can be better 1% every day. I can be 1% better every day. So I'm always like learning. I'm always asking for feedback. But you need to learn how to also be authoritative and make people respect you, especially as a female in this role. It's been fun, but I think it's just the beginning of my journey. I'm just focusing on doing good food and making the team happy. I don't want everyone to have anxiety when we're working in the kitchen. I want everyone to be happy and we can have a laugh, but I also want everyone to push, to push hard, because that will make them better chefs as well. That's what I've learned from my experience. So that's what I will try to transmit to them. Is that how you say it? Transmit?
Well, it's only been a couple of months, but it's making such a huge impact, and it's so busy already. What are you loving about what you do?
I just love I don't know. What do I love? I love everything about it. I love problem solving. So that's one part of it. Definitely problem solving side of being in a kitchen, and like if there's an issue, I'm a very practical person, and I love efficiency. So that goes quite well with like being a head chef. You need to be able to organize the kitchen in a way that you're super efficient. But I also love the creative part of it. I love thinking about new flavors, new ideas. Not the spring. There's like a ton of new produce that you can work with and work in different ways. Like cooking is such a magical thing. You can transform things through doing fermentation and preservation. It's like so many things that you can do that it's like a sensory overload. So I just love everything about it. I love the challenge. I love when things are hard because I want to overcome the challenge. And I love when people are happy and they love my food and they come to the class and say that was amazing. I don't love it when they don't like it, but that doesn't happen too often. Luckily. I love everything about this job. I think I was born to do this. I don't know. Like, I like it. But now I'm trying to learn a bit about the business side of it as well. So, I just love learning as a person in general. So, yeah. Is that okay as an answer?
Yeah, it was amazing as an answer. It's an absolute honour to have you on Deep in the Weeds today, and can't wait to see where you take Elio's from here. Please keep in touch, and we'll catch up again soon.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Stay tuned as we take a deep dive into the lives of the incredible people who ply their trade in the food and hospitality sector. Special thanks to executive producer Rob Locke for making this all happen. Follow us on Instagram at Deep in the Weeds Podcast. or email us at podcast@deepintheweeds.com.au. Stay safe and be well.